Hey, hey, hey. Happy Thursday. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch. Welcome aboard. Tonight is Thursday, September 28th, 2023, and this is live stream number 971. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out, super casual around here. We hang out talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news and then share either a first look at a game or a live review of a game. Tonight, we are going to be taking a peek at the old school Renaissance adventure module. Yes, I will call it a module. Severed Fate from Smoldering Dung Games. You heard that correctly. In fact, you know what? Last night, I mistakenly referred to the company as, I think I said Smoking Dung. No. It is Smoldering Dung Games. And we'll be taking a peek at this, which is, I believe, statted for AD&D. I think we'll find out as we take a peek in. But, you know me, I'll take a peek at games from the biggest publishers around and folks who are just getting started. Although I gotta say, Smoldering Dung does have quite a few, releases available. So there is that. So stay tuned. Now, if you happen to be tuning in for the live first look, I want to point out we tackled the tabletop gaming news first around here. So it'll probably be about 30, maybe 35 minutes before we get into that live first look. So, if you are kicking back with us live tonight, put your feet up, relax, enjoy yourself. We'll have some fun. Hopefully you're a subscriber, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. But when you're not watching videos here on the Gaming Gang channel, I should point out, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for our latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you will not find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And yes, I forgot to point out, if you are watching this 30 minutes or more after the show has ended, and you're impatient, and you just gotta get to that first look, there will be timestamps located in the show notes so you can skip past tabletop gaming news. Although I've got a cool bunch of eclectic gaming news tonight, like I always do. But if you just got to get to that first look, you'll be able to. Plus, depending on the device you might be watching this on, those timestamps might be right there in the timeline of the video. Since this is a live stream, that means there is chat available. Now, I will point out, it's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least 48 hours in order to take part in chat. But if you want to say howdy, maybe you got a question, comment, maybe there's something about Severed Fate we'll be peeking at that you want to get a closer look at, by all means, chime in and let me know. First out the gate tonight is the Motor City Madman. Yes, The madman is with us. Good to see you. He's one of our chat moderators. Yes, he is. And we've got Roger Perdome. James Eck is joining us. It's been a while since we've seen James. Flaming Huron's with us, all the way from Australia. I don't know why I always say it like that. Why don't I just say Australia, not Australia? What am I trying to do? Like a half-assed Aussie accent or something? Kevin King is hanging with the gang, as is Shaz. Marius Smits. Melwinius from York is in the house. And so is Kathy Evans and Indarius Termina. So chat is rocking and rolling right off the bat. Indarius says more Cockney than Aussie. Yeah, like I said, I don't even know what I was trying to accomplish there, but I say it like that all the time. Oh, it's Flaming Huron over in Australia. Australia. Don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just cracking up. So let's jump on into the news tonight, because Good Games Publishing has a new card game, which is arriving next month. Here's what I know about Trick Draw. In Trick Draw, you collect gold and call on allies to become the local hero or villain of the mercantile town of Trick Draw Junction. Cards can be played two different ways: face down as gold, worth 1 point, or face up to perform actions. With only 10 points to win, any card you draw is guaranteed to push you toward victory. The real trick comes not in how you use your cards the first time, but in how you reuse them. As you play, you'll discover numerous ways to flip the cards in front of you. And whenever you flip a card face up, you can activate it again immediately. You can also do the opposite. Flipping a spent card face down gives it new value as 1 point. This mechanic lets you find creative uses for your resources, giving all cards relative value. Your best card one turn may be better face down on the next. These tools allow for strong combos, sneaky plays, and cheeky bluffs. Ooh, cheeky, eh? New strategy will emerge each time you play, and no game will feel quite like the last. Trick Draw is for 2 to 5 players, ages 12 and up. Plays in 5 to 20 minutes. Will carry an MSRP of $17.99 when it arrives in stores on October 18th. I will mention, I do believe that the images that you're taking a peek at are from like a Kickstarter edition, because it looks as if this comes in a box that has a magnetic clasp to it. At least that's what it appears to me to be. And I do not believe that for $18, you're going to get that. Plus, it looks like it's got like different cover art than what you're seeing. So I think this is like a standard box, which for $17.99 is what I would expect. But this sounds kind of interesting. I like games that have multi-purpose cards. I always get a kick out of that. So once again, this is Trick Draw from Good Games Publishing. Now hold on there a minute, Baba Louie. I'll do the thinning around here. Yes, that was Trick Draw McGraw. Oh, it's Quick Draw McGraw. I know. On to our next news piece. The Powered by the Apocalypse role-playing game Flying Circus from Newsstand Press is the subject of a new bundle of holding, and I've got the deets on this high-flying deal. Fly high with this new Flying Circus bundle featuring, you guessed it, Flying Circus, the Apocalypse Engine aviation fantasy role-playing game from Newsstand Press. In Flying Circus, you're a fantasy adventurer, but instead of a sword and spells, you have an overworked biplane with rusty machine guns, and you might still have to fight a dragon. Above the sprawling industrial fantasy land of Himmelgard, daring pilots, heroes, knights errant, and scoundrels for hire protect small rural communities beset by monsters, bandits, and tyrants. Flying Circus optimizes the Apocalypse Engine system to support highly detailed aircraft construction rules and an authentic and authentically dangerous flight experience, which will charm fans of anime classics like Porco Rosso and La Puta. I'm not familiar with the second one. I have seen the first a few times. For just $12.95, you'll get all 4 titles in the Circus Collection, which has a retail value of $75 as DRM-free PDFs, including the complete Flying Circus Core Rulebook, previously presented in the November 2020 Indie Cornucopia 8 bundle, along with the expansions Horrors of the Heights, Flights of Fancy, and First Flights. Plus, this version of Horrors of the Heights in this offer has been newly updated for compatibility with the forthcoming Flying Circus ground combat expansion, Chariots of Steel. These savings will run through October 16th. I have not actually had an opportunity to take a peek at Flying Circus. I have heard good things about it, especially if you are an anime fan. I think you would probably dig it quite a bit because I think it really does go for kind of the bare knuckles action and so forth. But gotta say, $12.95, that's a pretty sweet deal. Now, I mentioned I had seen Porco Rosso before. One thing I never understood, well, okay, I understand it. I didn't understand why they never come out and actually tell you why he's a pig. Never. Now, it was revealed in a press release from Studio Ghibli back in the day, but in the actual film itself, they never tell you why he chose to become a pig. You kind of piece it together, but I think everybody's got different opinions of why Porco Rosso is a pig. 245 Trioxin is with us in chat, as is Lord Koss 2000. Welcome to you both. On to the next news piece. Tabletop role-playing game designer Gwendolyn Clark is in the midst of a successful Kickstarter project. It's actually in its final week of funding. And I've got the scoop on the Overdrive edition of Infinite Revolution, a tabletop role-playing game about hope in the face of entropy, breakneck battles in the void of space, and the brilliant burn of the human spirit for 2 to 5 players and a GM. You and your friends play as revolvers, humans whose spirits burn so hot, quick, and bright, their atoms would flare to ash if not for an implanted paracasual turbine, the revolver drive. A race of entropic predators called the Veil have swallowed the stars, and they're coming for the rest of your solar system next. It's time to take it back for yourself, for your loved ones, and for everyone back on Earth. They're counting on you. If you aren't familiar with Infinite Revolution, here's what to expect. Fast, cinematic, brilliant. Core resolution is a simple D6 pool, and every rule and mechanic has been precision-tuned with the focus where it counts. Bombastic space action, boiling tension, and radiant emotional comebacks and last stands. No fiddly arithmetic or template measuring here. There are 3 modes of play. Battle the Scourge of the Veil in high-speed combat. Conduct high-stakes tactical missions and ops, and do your best to relax in downtime. Each phase of play is designed to flow into the next for a seamless, well-rounded experience. There's robust player options. Choose from 12 unique drive cores based on the Western Zodiac, each with their own powers, combat specialties, and thematic character complications. Then customize them even further with an arsenal of over 30 powerful weapons and combat styles. Now, there is a short Kickstarter video where Gwendolyn Clark goes into far more detail about Infinite Revolutions and this Overdrive edition. So let's kick back and give it a watch.
Hi, I'm Gwen, and this is Infinite Revolution. Infinite Revolution is a tabletop RPG about light-speed space combat with no ships, no crew, and no limits. You play as revolvers, humans whose spirits burn too bright for their bodies, who live forever in suits of cosmic armor, forged from their own refracted hopes and dreams. I made Infinite Revolution because I wanted to make a tender power fantasy, a game where the players are these limit-defying, over-the-top cosmic heroes, but also people with loves and fears and insecurities, fighting tooth and nail to protect everything they love. You, the players, might be nearly immortal, but the people you're fighting for are just regular humans facing down an existential threat. A ravenous alien force called the Veil has swallowed the stars and looms over our solar system, and revolvers like you are the only ones who stand a chance against it. The initial version of Infinite Revolution was released in May of 2022 for a game jam on itch. I made it mostly as an expression of my own feelings of hope and stubborn optimism, and was then absolutely blown away by the reception it received. People are still posting about it on social media, showing off their characters, making homebrew and writing campaign reports, and just contributing to this amazing, passionate, tight-knit community. And that support was really the spark that ignited the idea for this Kickstarter. And now, a little over a year later, we have the chance to make Infinite Revolution's future even brighter. I love this game. I loved writing it, I love the stories people tell with it, and I want to share those stories with everyone I can and help the book be the absolute best it can possibly be. And I can't do that without you, as fucking corny as it sounds. But that's why we're here. I chose Kickstarter because I wanted to help share Infinite Revolution with as many people as possible, and to leave room for us to fly even higher with your generous support. We have some really, really cool stuff planned, including stretch goals. There's a lot in this campaign that I've wanted to do basically since the game's inception, and I really can't wait to share it with you. If you want to know more, including where you can get a free preview version of the game, definitely check out the page below. And if you have any questions about the game or the campaign, feel free to leave a comment here on Kickstarter, email me at darlingthreshergames@gmail.com, or DM me on Twitter @gwinglemove. Thanks, and I hope I'll see you on the backer list.
All right, did you get all that? Because now we're going to have a quiz. Nah, I'm just kidding. This Kickstarter project for Infinite Revolution, the Overdrive edition, is past the 600% funding mark. You can reserve a copy of the physical book with PDF for a $35 pledge, or just score the PDF alone for a $25 pledge through October 5th, with an expected delivery next June. And I do see that we have got, who just popped in a little while ago, Testy Trekkie is with us, as is Bill N. We got a really good chat going tonight. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. I guess you knew I was going to bust out my Cubs gear, or I should say some of my Cubs gear. That's why you're all tuning in, because God knows we don't want to watch another Cubs collapse tonight. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Anyway, I wanted to share this because you know I'm not a fan of art punk. You know this. But this, yeah, and yes, it does have a little bit of a art punk vibe. But as you can see from these images, you can actually make out the rules to the game. The artwork is not getting in the way, that it does not have an intuitive layout to it. This does look pretty cool. Tessie Trekkie said, I have no idea what this product is, but I want it based on the design. Shut up and take my money. So it's the opposite of Grimdark. It is Bright Hope role-playing. Once again, Tessie Trekkie also said, okay, I'm sold even if I never play it. Well, you know me. I talk about it all the time, how over the years I had bought so many role-playing games that never, ever got to my game table. But I would read them, enjoy them, and crib stuff. Mary Smith asks, is Morgborg art punk? Yes, they are the granddaddy of art punk. Yes, they most certainly are. Although, here's one thing I would recommend for Gwendolyn Clark when this comes out, when she releases the PDF. I would recommend releasing a printer-friendly version of this with white background, black text, because we've talked about this before. And granted, it's 140 pages, probably guess what we're looking at. Somewhere in that vicinity, 100, 150. Once again, just guess. I have no idea. After a while, that white on black really does, I'm not the only one. I know this for a fact. It is just, Flaming Heron just pointed this out. Black is a killer. The white text on black background, as cool as it can look, if you are reading the book or utilizing the book as game material, it can be a real pain in the ass. Really, really can. So I highly doubt Gwendolyn Clark's going to see this, but that's what I would recommend. Just have a printer-friendly PDF that you share with everybody who, gets the PDF. Anywho, let's move on to the last news piece, because I've got news about another money-saving bundle. This time, it's on the Warhammer 40K Dark Heresy role-playing game, which is now owned by Cubicle 7 Entertainment. You are an acolyte in the service of the Emperor's Inquisition. You stand in the front line of a great and secret war where your duty is to hunt out the foul stench of heresy, the vile alien, and the twisted influence of chaos. You will tread where others fear, venturing to distant planets, ancient space hulks, and the unsavory depths of the Underhive. You will never know fame nor reward. Yet, if you stand resolute, your deeds will be whispered to the God Emperor of mankind, and your name will be revered for millennia. This includes fast character creation to get you into the game quickly, followed by a lifetime of possibilities with an expanded advanced career system. Dynamic rules for all eventualities, which let you handle everything from social interaction to deadly fast-paced combat, psychers and psychic powers to insanity and mutation. Here's comprehensive background on the Calazis sector, the official setting for Dark Heresy, written by best-selling Warhammer 40K novelists Dan Abnett and Ben Counter. Not familiar with that. I don't read Warhammer fiction. A galaxy of guns to equip your acolyte, from laser guns to inferno pistols, chain swords to power blades. Pitch your players straight into the midst of dark events with a complete adventure in the core rulebook to get you started. And the core rulebook contains everything you need to start your adventure in the Warhammer 40K universe. Now, I was just talking about the core book. Right now, you can score 20, that's right, 20 Dark Heresy PDFs together in a bundle over at Drive-Thru RPG for $49.99. These PDFs carry an MSRP of $330. And yes, I get it. Dark Heresy is no longer in print. Didn't it come out 2007, 2008, sometime around there? I don't remember the company who released it, because they were kind of a small publisher, if I remember correctly. So, don't know. Agile Monk is with us. Hey, thank you very much for a super chat. Agile Monk says, another great live stream. Well, thanks. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. And Darius Terminus says, for those who don't know Warhammer 40K, basically it's a dark version of the Empire from Star Wars, but with fantasy races like orcs and elves running around. Oh, yeah, I would say that's, yeah, I guess I'd say that. I wouldn't say it's just a dark version. I would say, man, is it dark. Bill N points out, Dan Abnett wrote a lot of prominent 40K novels. Oh, I'm not knocking the authors. I'm just saying I've never read any of the literature for Warhammer 40K or Warhammer Fantasy either. I know there are people out there who just gobble that up. Yum, 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 yum. I am not one. Although I am listening to the Gentleman Bastards series. God, now I can't remember the author's name. And I don't know, I'm about a third of the way through the first book. I'm enjoying it, but I think a lot of it has to do with the audio actor who's presenting the book. I don't want to say like narrator because it's doing more than just narration. Anyway, this is a pretty smoking deal here for Dark Heresy over at Drive-Thru RPG. I do not have any idea how long this bundle will be available. All right, that is it for the news tonight. Of course, I was just talking about Drive-Thru RPG. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you're going to visit, say, Drive-Thru RPG or Dungeon Masters Guild, Storyteller's Vault, what have you, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. 5%, ladies and gents. And, of course, those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, then swing on over to paypal.me/thegaminggang to make a small donation. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Wet the old whistle there. Thankfully, there are quite a lot of you out there who do utilize the banner ads and or visit paypal.me/thegaminggang. Thank you very, very kindly, everyone. Much, much appreciated. Let's see what we got cooking here. Flaming Heron says, I'm having to wonder, didn't Humble Bundle offer a bundle with it? Not all the releases, most of them in a bundle with Black Crusader and Only War? I think you are correct. I don't think it was the whole series. I got to be honest, I don't know if the 20 PDFs that are included in this bundle comprise the entire run. I have no idea. I was taking a peek. In fact, a lot of times, I should mention this. If you're curious about something that I share a news piece about on the show, stop over at thegaminggang.com the following day, because the news pieces post as articles at thegaminggang.com starting at 5 a.m. the next morning, 5 a.m. Chicago time. So, as an example, talking about this Dark Heresy bundle. Are you going to be able to search around and find it on Drive-Thru RPG? I would think probably. I had a link to it in an email, so that's how I got to it. But I don't know. So, of course, you can wait till the news piece comes out and check it out that way. And, of course, my affiliate number is on that link, too, so that makes life easier for you. But remember that anytime you're watching something, you're like, oh man, that sounds like a cool game. And because there are a lot of times I do not have like a web address for a company. Because normally when I share the news pieces here, I share the web address for the publisher. But especially with role-playing games from small publishers who release their games through DriveThruRPG, there are a good number of those who do not actually have websites. So I actually just link to their products over on DriveThruRPG. Sometimes it's not that easy to track them down. And Darius Terminus says the Dark Heresy thing is live. That I do know, but not obviously live. Bill N says they ran Dark Heresy in its original version. It was fun. You just need to get everyone on the same page and how far your authority goes. Bill also points out that I forget what DW stands for. Says their game was like Law and Order. We would start with Inquisition adept characters. Then when they unearth the bad stuff, people switch to their Space Marine characters. Hey, I am looking forward to the Rogue Trader computer role-playing game, which is coming from Owlcat Games. I think it's supposed to release December 7th, a date which will live in infamy. But I saw some footage of it. Looks pretty cool. I'll probably pick it up. And then, take forever to finish it. Like I haven't even played Baldur's Gate 3 in the past, 8 days or something. I've been trying to get reviews and stuff out. Oh, Dark Heresy is DH. I'm trying to remember what DW was. I don't know. Once again, I'm not super up on Warhammer 40K role-playing games from the past. I know there was like 3 or 4 at one time that were all coming out from Fantasy Flight Games. Deathwatch, there we go. Thank you. Thank you kindly. All right, so that's it for the news tonight. One thing I did want to mention, I got a couple of emails from people asking what I thought of my Chicago Cubs choking. Not really choking. There's bullpen injuries and things like that. So I thought I would take a moment here, show my allegiance. I'm a lifelong Cubs fan. I've been a Cubs fan for about 47 years. And yes, it's been a long, hard slog much of the time. But I have been to plenty of playoff games, which are pretty cool. And outside of one, they've won every playoff game I've gone to. So, Man says, well, it could be worse. The Cubs could be the Tigers. Hey, the Tigers had their heyday. I remember 84. Man, what a team. What a team. It just smoked everybody like cheap cigars. Anyway, what I was going to say is I despise the Miami Marlins. Well, they used to be called the Florida Marlins. And this is why. They're always fucking the Cubs somehow. Always. I was at Game 7, 2003. Had to watch the Marlins celebrate in our park. But then again, that was more along the lines of Dusty Baker managing as if there was going to be a Game 8. But here's why I despise them. They are a team that doesn't even really have a fan base. No one goes to the park. And I guess, if you lived in Miami and you were young, I don't know, would you be going to the ballpark? Probably not. But they're another one of these teams that don't even fill their ballpark halfway for most games. And the only way they stick around is because of revenue sharing from teams like the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Cubs. And then they turn around every few years and just whack. Now, you notice I didn't say hate. I just said I despise them. I don't hate anything in this world, really. But it just, and that's what bugs me. It's not the team, it's not the players. It's that this team, and they're not the only one out there. I can look across town. Chicago White Sox, another team that nobody goes to the ballpark. And the Sox fans are, such huge fans. It's like, well, if you're such a huge fan, go spend some money and go to the ballpark, because that's where revenue for your team comes in. That's how you go out and get good free agents. Anyway, but all in all, I'm not upset at the Cubs. I'm pleased with the Cubs because I didn't expect them to be competing for a playoff spot. I thought they would be a little better than last year, but I thought, well, maybe they'll be 500, which I know is very possible they could finish the season a game over 500. But at no point back in July, when both the Cubs and the White Sox were 10 games under 500, and I listen to sports radio usually when I'm, driving. It's the only time I listen. I don't listen when I'm in the house or anything, just when I'm driving. But pretty much the theme of discussion at that point in time was what a long baseball season it was going to be, with neither team in contention for anything. Well, the Cubs turned it around. And got to the last week of the season. But I mean, they're the Cubs. They break everybody's hearts, except for 2016. Anyway, Roger Perdome says, I miss my Montreal Expos. Montreal Expos were such a solid team. They were always not always, but the vast majority of the time in the 80s and 90s, they were good teams. But there were no wild cards back then. And each league only had 2 divisions. So if you didn't win the division, you weren't going to the playoffs. So Roger Prudhomme points out Tim Raines, Tim Wallach, Al Oliver, Steve Rogers, Bill Lee, Gary Carter, Warren Cromartie. What, you got something against Andre Dawson? Got a problem with Andre Dawson there, Roger? Huh? Dusty Trekkie says the Australian Football League. See, I said it Australian this time. I didn't say the Australian Football League. Grand final is tomorrow. So it says, hopefully the Pies get up and beat Brisbane. Hey, I'll support whoever you're cheering for. Flaming Heron says, not even a Collingwood fan, and I want them to win. Queensland has won enough this year. There you go. Roger Prudhomme says, hey, I forgot about that guy. Brian Little. Brian Little at short. Yeah, I know my baseball. You know what helps baseball is playing baseball games. Yep. Used to play Stratomatic. And then we got started with Status Pro from Avalon Hill, which, gotta be honest, wasn't as detailed in any way, shape, or form as Stratomatic. I still think Stratomatic's probably the number one tabletop baseball game. But you could actually calculate player cards for Stratomatic. There was another game, I think they changed the name of it, and it was Sherco Baseball. I played a lot of that solo. So, sweet. And Darius says, sports and me are like oil and water. We separated years ago and no longer mix. It all just kind of goes over my head these days. I will say that I do not spend a lot of time sitting in front of a television watching sports. I am usually doing things, and I will normally have a game on the radio. So I'll have a game playing on the radio and be, working on the website or, whatever, getting news together, those kind of things. All right. So yes, I am proud of my Cubs. I'm not upset if they aren't going to make the playoffs. I'll just be like, hey, you know what? Almost got there. And they're about 40 games better than the White Sox. So that's also an accomplishment there too. Yeah. I don't hate the Sox. It's just another one of these. I dislike the fans. They don't go to the ballpark. They talk a lot of shit. And the shit talking kind of stopped when the Cubs won the World Series. That was kind of like, well, shit. Now we don't have anything on the Cubs anymore. Damn it. It's kind of how the Sox fans were. Okay, so we are going to be taking a look at Severed Fate from Smoldering Dung Games in just a few moments. But first, it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
How about it, kids? Are you giving us a fair break? We've tried to treat you fair and square, but unnecessary noises and disturbances drive away adults. And we need adult trade to stay in business. You can cooperate and help us keep this theater quiet, or we'll be forced without further notice to evict all disturbance makers and to refuse them future admission to this theater. Now, don't make us do it. Let's give each other a fair break. Thanks, the management.
Oh, heck, my flying saucer's out of atomic fuel.
I'm even worse off. I'm out of Wilkins coffee.
Gee whiz.
Invaders from Mars. He saw them land from outer space. He saw them capture innocent people only to destroy. Father turned against son. People changed into strange, weird animals. A general of the army becomes a saboteur. Trusted police turned into arsonists. The boy's parents changed into killers.
But nobody's getting anywhere out there. Nobody can locate anything. Anybody. The Martians. We've got to stop them.
Invaders from Mars, capturing humans at will for their own sinister purposes, turning them into diabolical instruments of destruction. Invaders from Mars, weird, fantastic beings of a superintelligence, ruling a race of synthetic humans and pitting them against mankind's dream to conquer the universe.
Come on, step on it. Search every tunnel. We gotta find Ronaldo and the kid. When the colonel gives a signal, get back here on the double.
Damn you, disturbance makers! Actually, Invaders from Mars is a pretty good 1950s science fiction film. It's not like some of the crap that came out. Although I have to chuckle every time I see that scene with that soldier getting sucked down. He looks like the actor who played Sergeant Carter on Gomer Pyle. So I just picture him yelling, "Pyle!" as he's getting yanked down. Yeah. Manman says this acting from that reminds him so much of The Blob, which he watched. He said, man, the acting was bad. Yes. Yeah, actually, it's a pretty bad movie overall, even though it's a classic. I think it's more of a classic because Steve McQueen is in it than anything else. All right. Today, we are going to be diving on in and taking a first look at Severed Fate from Smoldering Dung Games. This is written by James Keek, and I think it's Keefe, right? Yes, it is Keefe. James Keefe and Laurel Nicholson. This 67-page softcover is available through Amazon for $19.99. This is another one of those situations where if you are interested in picking this up, check out the post for this episode over on thegaminggang.com, because even though I'm sharing Smoldering Dung Games, you can't buy this from their site. There's no link to it on their site, strangely enough. So if you are interested in picking this up, then by all means, check out the article that'll post later on tonight for Severed Fate. Let's swing on over to the other camera, because here I've got Severed Fate. Actually, James Keefe reached out to me and asked me if I'd be interested in taking a peek at this. I said I certainly would, but keep in mind, neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. It's important that you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page, but we'll probably look at a little bit more of this than we would, say, a book from Free League Publishing or Paizo Inc. Because we'll take kind of a deeper dive into this. Lastly, this is an adventure, so just saying there's probably going to be some spoilers here. Even though I know nothing about this, there's going to be some spoilers. I guarantee we'll see some. So let's see what the back has to tell us. Barely 100 feet away, the repulsive and terrifying monster Furythorn steps into the compound littered with burning corpses. He hasn't seen you yet, but he will soon. There's no escape. Your band of adventurers are the last ones to stop his destruction and killing. You ready your weapon, watching bursts of flames erupt from his body. Hideous, pus-oozing burns cover his face. As night deepens, one of his hulking minions spots you and points, grunting. Seeing your group of warriors, Furythorn laughs a chilling cackle, spewing pus into the evening air. Well, that's a pleasant picture in your mind. There you are, cowards. I've been waiting for you. He holds out his arms. Come to me and die. Krenna, the wizard's apprentice, feverishly clutches the spell components beneath her cloak. He must die tonight, otherwise he'll destroy the whole northern half of the isle. The only response is the sound of blades pulled from their sheaths. As you charge forward, embers from the monster's burning flesh float above you in the wind. We're doomed! Run away! Run away! All right, let's take a look here. My understanding is that John Keefe and Laurel Nicholson wrote adventures for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, but it was by way of the Roll-Aids line from Mayfair Games back in the day. Jack Hanks is with us in chat, and I did notice One of our chat moderators, Sarah D, is with us. Good to see Sarah. She was chiming in during our brief intermission. So Severed Fate is an adventure for 5 to 7 first-level characters. There should be a good mix of classes with at least 2 fighters. There is help along the way from NPCs. It contains open game content, can be adapted for most role-playing games, especially with the first edition of the most popular of all games, with the first edition of Monopoly. Oh, actually, wouldn't it be the first edition of chess or Go? So it looks like this is a copyright 2000. Wow. Okay. Rated R for recklessness, extreme but necessary violence, outlawed magic, and unnecessary drug use. Okay. So this is a little bit of an intro from Laurel Nicholson, talking about how her collaboration with James, I should say, Keefe started. So we have the island of Argilla, however you want to pronounce it. You know me, come on. I mispronounce all these fictional places. Thousands of years before the current epoch, the island of Argilla, I'll just call it Argilla, was the center of a world dominated by magic and misery. Religion had not even a toehold in the lives of the downtrodden that slaved for their wizardly masters. Gods and devils alike were scorned by sorcerers in this age of, man, I never can pronounce this damn word right. Thaumaturgy? I don't think that's it. It's just one of those words, whenever I see it, I'm like, shit. So it looks like we're getting some background here about this island, sometimes called Plagueswell by many. So it looks like it was quarantined and blockaded. The adventuring party are searching the northern portion of the island for ancient ruins and happen upon the ambush of Tarsil Yurgiat, a reclusive wizard that resides in Scryhawk Tower on the outskirts of the forest. They're about a half mile south of the battle and go to see what is happening. Oh, really now? You're forcing the player characters to go check out what's going on? That's railroading, man. Throughout the book, characters will encounter goblins whose chances to hit when outdoors is -1. They will always prefer to attack gnomes and dwarves when they have a chance. It looks as if we get some read aloud in italics. It appears to be. So when we have read aloud, it is in italics. And it looks like we've got our stat blocks here. Here's Krana, the human magic user, who we saw a reference to on the back cover. So here's our stat blocks for them. So it looks like once they encounter that battle, there's some tracks. I don't want to, give away everything going on in the adventure. I just do want to give you a feel for what's going on, and maybe we can find some set pieces to take a peek at. So it looks as if we get a bit of a... Okay, I was going to say that's not a dungeon. It's not big enough. It is a tomb. Room 3, Roots and Skeletons. A path distinguished by serrated marble flooring, as opposed to black marble in the rest of the room, leads to ominous, huge double doors opposite the entrance. The doors are fully covered by a painting that portrays a stern-looking man stepping through an open portal while waving a silver-tipped wand. The faded and peeling painting strongly resembles the doors it is painted on. Above the doors are sloppily carved strange ancient runes. On each side of the path, numerous skeletons hang from old tree roots protruding through the rock ceiling. Beneath each dangling skeleton on the black marble floor is a blood-red circle made of a waxy material. Some skeletons lie on the floor on top of areas where, I guess it says, where the wax has been removed. Beneath them is a circular slab of marble that partially covers a large, deep hole. Near the wall by each door is a tall, heavy candle that rests in a massive iron holder on the floor. First thing I'm going to point out about that read aloud, I appreciate this style of read aloud. So you're not telling the player characters what they're thinking, what they're feeling. You're just saying, hey, this is what you see. This is what your senses are telling you. What do you do next? So what do you think? Are those skeletons going to come to life? I'm thinking they are. Okay, here we go. Skeletons. Oh. In order for a skeleton to animate, the gem below the floor in the area under the red wax circle must be taken. Only the skeleton above that specific gem will animate. If any skeleton is smashed before animating, that would be a smart move. It will be destroyed with one hit, but bone borers may be released if the skeleton was infested. There's a 50% chance each skeleton is infested with bone borers and a 20% one-time chance that 3 will be released upon hitting a skeleton. If a gem is taken, read the following. This looks pretty good. Flaming Heron says, when don't skeletons come to life? I have run plenty of fantasy role-playing game adventures. Well, okay, let's not say plenty, because I mainly run Call of Cthulhu. Everybody knows that. But I have run some fantasy role-playing adventures where the skeletons do not animate. And it's funny because the players, it doesn't matter if they have never played a role-playing game in their lives. They're always like, uh-oh, those skeletons are going to come to life, aren't they? It's like, I can't tell you. Jesus Nava is with us. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight. This looks interesting. Artwork's pretty weak. I mean, let's be honest here, but it's not like we were expecting some, slam bang line art from a small publisher like this. Actually, I'm kind of surprised there's even some artwork in here. So it looks like we also get a town. Yeah. Drogar's Snorting Emporium. What are they selling? Magic cocaine? Dishes and tankards are littered about the room where numerous round tables and many chairs are strewn about and broken. 2 people lie on the floor among the wreckage. A goblin, apparently drunk, is sprawled on the bar and snoring. And snoring from him can be heard above the revelry. A long rectangular table near the back hosts a squad of goblins waving human joints in the air as they feast on at least 2 people. Coming from the back room in the northeast corner is a female goblin carrying a platter with several tankards high above her head. Behind the bar, liquid runs from the taps and the shelves are empty. In the northwest corner, a stairway leads upwards. Then it appears that we get that. We get some GM notes. And the way each of these areas are kind of broken down is then, so for an example, the body's on the floor, the platter, the tankards, human bodies being eaten. And of course, we've got our stat block for the goblins. Flaming Heron says, you mean goblins are being evil? I know. What's up with that? We're not supposed to just assume because they're goblins, they're evil. There could be lawful good goblins. I know. I think that stuff's kind of ridiculous. I mean, isn't there a reason why Drizzt is a big deal as a drow? But then all of a sudden you go, well, we got 45 different, chaotic good drows. Although I think he's lawful good. Well, I got to say, the maps are nicely done. That's pretty cool. Sweet. Looks like we have a tower. Oh, it's the Wizard's Tower. I would hope this would play out like a Wizard's Tower. Madman says, those goblins seem to have the right idea. Yeah, getting loaded. I would take a guess because it said this is for 5 to 7 like low-level characters. You're probably looking first, second level. Because for the most part, you're taking on looks like goblins. There's a war dog here. Bowlers. Don't get hit with the bowling ball. Scott B. Smith is with us in chat. Says, not evil goblins. What is this? Eberron? And Daria says, stuff like goblins and other fae. I don't know. Are goblins considered fae? Not in D&D. I don't think. I don't think they're considered fae in D&D. Yeah. Now, I do agree with this as far as the fae. They aren't good or evil. Their morals are not ours. As such, a good deed to them is not always a good deed to us. Yeah, the fae should have relatively kind of twisted morality. We had our wandering monsters in the compound, in the forest. So in the compound, it's always going to be goblins. In the forest, hobgoblins, a black bear, gibberings, I should say. Goblins, needle men. So we have some new monsters. The bone borers, which we already saw if you smash those. If you smash those skeletons, they could be infected or infested, I guess I should say, with bone borers, with boogeymen, the Soulorn, map of the island. That's a pretty nice map of the island. I like that. So this was crowdfunded, I should say. Some information about the authors. And that will wrap it up at 67 pages. That is a peek inside Severed Fate for OSR fantasy role-playing games from Smoldering Dung Games. Once again, this is available through Amazon for $19.99. I will have a link in the show notes as well as in the article, basically the post for this show over on thegaminggang.com in just a bit. And yes, I took a peek during the brief intermission. Cubs were losing 5-1. I figured as much. Anyway, thank goodness I've got the Bears to watch. Jeez. Although I will say that I think enough time has passed where I guess I'm allowed to root for the Blackhawks again. So you might actually see me in Blackhawks jerseys again this year. It's been about, 2 years? Maybe more. Since I was like, yeah, I got nothing to do with these people. Not after all the nonsense that came out. But I think they've made some pretty decent amends, and the people who were involved with that shit are gone. So there you have it. All right. Anyway, I will have a review of Severed Fate in the very near future. So what's cooking next week? Want to remind you, Sunday night, well, it's really Sunday morning, October 1st, I kick off the Gaming Gang October Spooktacular. That's right. Every midnight, I will be bringing you a classic episode of CBS Radio Mystery Theater. That's right. I am only focusing on CBS Radio Mystery Theater this year because there are 1,399 episodes of the show. So I could do spooktaculars for a few years just using CBS Radio Mystery Theater. Keeping in mind, not every episode was like spooky or bizarre or creepy. Some were out and out, just mysteries. Anyway, Tuesday show, we're going to be taking a look at Maximum Apocalypse, which is from Rock Manor Games. And then next Wednesday, we're going to take a look at High Treason, the trial of Louis Real from Victory Point Games. Still don't know what I want to do on Thursday yet. I had considered sharing Davokar Awakens for Symborim, or Symborim, as some people have told me it's pronounced. I think it is Symborim. But this is the 6th chapter. It's the final chapter of a campaign. And I got to be honest, I think I've shared one of the books. Because I only have one of the books. If I even have any of the books, I'll have to go take a peek. So I don't know if I want to share this as a first look, because I'll feel really stupid being like, oh, I have no idea what's going on in this adventure campaign, but let's take a look. Although I do have all of them in PDF, so I have reached out to Sammy to see if she would be interested in tackling those adventures. And once again, I guess I should point out, I am always on the lookout for role-playing game reviewers who are happy to review PDFs. So I see Roger Prudhomme is a Canadiens fan. There you go. Nice. I know Sarah D had mentioned that I think she said she had a friend who was a Packers and White Sox fan. That was his teenage rebellion. I actually have, I guess, you consider him, he is my stepbrother. He is the son of my late stepmom, although I'm really not close to her kids. And he is a Bears fan living in Packers country. So it's like, yikes. Kevin King says, haven't seen any Symborim. I've shared reviews of some of the core books and that, and then you also have ruins of Symborim for 5e. So that is available out there as well. Oh, Sarah D said it was a cousin, and he was lucky he wasn't disowned. Yes, just like you'll see, what isn't the commercial with, if you've seen it, I think they probably air it during football games. And it's people who like stand out like a sore thumb as far as their football allegiance. And it's this girl sitting squeezed in on the couch with these Giants fans. So it's, I guess it's supposed to be, she's like the daughter who's trying to, stand out from everybody else. Or maybe she's the girlfriend who just happens to be, an Eagles fan, but it's kind of funny. All right. That's it for tonight. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. will not only let you know when the dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings, almost said Monday, at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my current review of Delta Green, The Conspiracy, and my upcoming review of Vason. I keep getting all these different ways of pronouncing it. I saw one that's talking about said it is Wesson, because that's how I originally was told that it's pronounced. And then I had other people say, no, man, you keep pronouncing it wrong. It's Vesson. The hell with them. Stay tuned for my review of Wesson, A Wicked Secret and Other Mysteries from Free League Publishing. So that will be up this week. And Darius says, I assumed it was Vasson. See, that's what I mean. And then I have been told that it is pronounced like the German word Wesson. Do not know. This book gets a review. Stay tuned. All right, if you were watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, a bigger thank you. Because not only do you keep me company, you also keep each other company while I'm paging through a book or adventure or unboxing a board game. But of course, I know there's a lot of you out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy life to watch any of the videos here on the Gaming Gang YouTube channel. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang YouTube channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on the channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it happens to be in your part of the woods. And I will be back next month. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. And until I see you next time, here's hoping each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang. Didn't I click that before? I tell you, live show happens all the time. See you next week.